Hello, everybody. My name's Nick Torres, and I'm an attorney, and I'm living in Beijing, China, making this video to my friends and family to give you some experience of what I'm going through here in China and what it's been like. I've been in quarantine for the last 2 months, and I kind of wanted to share my experiences with everybody. So the video itself, the footage that you're actually seeing, it's just video I took after about 2 months of quarantine in Beijing. So I just recorded like my first day. It's all in Chinese. I didn't feel like making another video for you guys in English because all my social media is basically in Chinese. So I just want to tell you 5 quick points that I hope, will help you guys kind of prepare and understand the coronavirus and what I've learned from my experience. So I hope to pass it to you guys because it seems like it's increasing dramatically in the United States, and it's only a matter of time before there's more and more cases. So number one, take this very serious. You have to understand that the coronavirus is an airborne disease and it's passed through air particles. So even if you wear a mask, if you're near a person in the same room about 3 to 5 feet away from them, and their air particles from their mouth get on your hand, you go home, you take off your mask, and then you wipe your mouth, you get it. And so you have to understand that. You also have to understand that people are dangerous. It's a weird concept to get your head around, but people are dangerous, and so the goal is to maintain distance from people because people are dangerous. So you don't know who has it. There's no way to tell. So you see all this temperature stuff and all that bullshit. Well, a fever is just one of the symptoms that may or may not manifest. So you have to understand that. And then I would just say another thing about taking it serious is if you have a roommate or a girlfriend or boyfriend and you're taking it serious and you're quarantining yourself, for example, but they're not, they're putting you at risk. So if you're quarantining for 2 weeks and then your girlfriend or boyfriend comes home and they've been outside or working, they're going to get you sick probably. So you have to understand that you guys have to be on the same page. I think that's what's most impressive about the Chinese is literally the whole country is in unison together and listening to everything the government says. And I think that's one of the reasons they're making big progress. So number 2, I'd just say you have to have, there's certain precautions that you need to be prepared to take before or if or when you get before you get the virus, right? So you have to understand what's going to happen and what that would look like. So I would just say, have a contingency plan, right? So you want to plan before this happens. So if you were to get it, where would you go? What hospital will you go to? Okay, so now you know what hospital. Why don't you contact them and see if they can even run a test, right? Because we're hearing in the United States, they can't even run tests. I recommend after you watch this video, you should call the hospital and see if they even had that capability. And then you have to understand that what's going to happen is if you get the virus, you may or may not know for 3 to 4 days. And then on the 4th day, you're going to have a fever. You may or may not, have a fever, but you're going to be coughing. You're going to feel like crap. You're going to have all sorts of side effects. You're kind of going to know, right? So then at that point, you're going to go to the hospital. They're going to admit you. They'll quarantine you. If they have the test, hopefully they do. You'll test positive after 24 hours or something like that. And then at that point, the hospital can't help you. And you have to understand, they can't do shit. So sometimes they just tell you to go home, and as you heard in Italy, if you're over the age of 65, they just go home, man, good luck. We don't have the space. So what would happen though is in the United States, and they had the space, is they would probably hook you up to a respirator to help you breathe. And that's just essentially, and they'll give you soup. Right? So they're just going to hope that your immune system can fight it off by itself. And so hopefully after 2 weeks, you make a full recovery or you die. And so that's the consequences of this kind of situation. So I recommend you guys locate a hospital, call the hospital, see if they have capability to run a test, and probably contact your medical insurance to see what kind of miscellaneous bills you're going to have to pay. And so I'd say number 3, I want you guys to understand what China has done to prevent this. So number 1, what I think is most impressive is China they have the authority to pass a law within hours, right? Minutes. So they can just say nobody can work. All businesses are to be shut down. And that's what they did when it first happened. They extended the national holiday, Chinese New Year's, for like 10 more days or whatever. And so after that period, what they did was they passed a law that, hey, if the employer like has to have employees, first of all, they allowed all, grocery stores to stay open, life necessity businesses to stay open. But they said if you have a business and you want to bring employees back after 10 days, you can, but you're going to have, liability if they get the virus. They contract the virus during the scope of work. So I think this made a lot of employers say, okay, we don't want that. So everybody's going to have to work from home. So you guys are going to have a candid discussion with your employers to say, hey, listen, I don't feel comfortable and I want to work from home. I've been working from home for like 9 weeks. So it's like week number 9 and I'm still working at home. It's what we have to do. We're all adjusting here. So I'm always on conference calls and stuff like that. Also, I think what was interesting was like the gated communities each have they each quarantine themselves, and I think that was pretty cool too. So I just want to get and if you take a train or a plane, you have to submit proof that you got tested by a doctor, you don't have the virus. Your gated community has to submit proof that you self-quarantine for 14 days. And then, I think those are the requirements to travel, which I think is interesting. And I think the USA should think about kind of doing this type of stuff. Quarantining gated communities, passing some kind of employer liability law, and also before people travel, they have to submit certain documentation. Makes sense, right? But for some reason, USA is not doing that. Okay, so the fourth and last thing that I'll just tell you guys is, I want to explain what kind of steps you can take to prevent this kind of issue. So number one, regardless of what you hear, you should probably wear a mask. No, not probably. You should wear a mask. N95. I just think it's a good idea. It covers your nose and mouth from the air particles, right? That's how it spreads. So if you hear news, don't buy a mask, fuck that. You buy a mask. N95, right? So here's the thing. When you go outside, let's say you go to a supermarket, you're making a run to go stock up on some food, you're at risk. So you have to wear a mask and maybe a scarf over the mask. Right? And so your hands are at risk. So you might want to wear plastic gloves. So those are 2 recommendations that I have for you guys if you make a run to the grocery store. So you could wear a mask, you could wear plastic gloves. It's the winter here, so I was always wearing gloves anyways when I went out. I recommend that if possible, I don't know if the USA has this kind of function, but you should download an app so you can have the supermarket deliver groceries to your house. So the only person you're coming in contact with is the delivery person, right? Because you got to remember, people are dangerous. And as you can see in my video here, I took off my clothes when I came back in from being outside. And so that's important because the air particles get on your clothes. So when you go outside of the grocery store, you come back inside, you should take off your clothes immediately and wash them. And then you should take off your plastic gloves and take off your mask and then go take a shower, right? Before you come in contact with your roommate or your girlfriend or boyfriend. So you have to understand that you have to do this with discipline and be very strict, because not only are you putting yourself at risk, you're putting the person who you live with at risk every time you go out. No public places, So I saw USA, people were complaining that events were canceled. It's like, this is a very American thing to do. In China, when things got canceled, everybody's like, of course, we should do that. But USA is like, why did our event get canceled, but the other one didn't? So it's just silly. Don't go to public places because people are dangerous, right? It's that simple. And so I would just say, get your head around maintaining a safe distance from other people. And, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me, leave comments. And I hope my experience helps, and I hope you guys take care of yourselves, and be safe. Stay inside.